Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we're at Brennan Theaters watching Roman J. Israel Esquire with Denzel Washington. This isn't exactly the movie we planned to see today. This movie came out a couple weeks ago, and normally we watch the new movie of the week, but we did watch this one today due to the fact that nothing really comes out this week. There are a couple coming out tomorrow, but they didn't do early screenings or anything like that, so we went back and watched one we were curious about that we hadn't seen, and I know personally I really wanted to see this movie and missed the opportunity because it came out the same week as Coco for some reason. I'm not sure why they would do that. That seems like box office suicide, but here we are. When it comes to this movie, this is the Denzel Washington movie where he plays the attorney. I was very interested in the character they were creating because you watch the trailers, they give you this idea of a character that was part of the civil rights movement, that grew up on doing things just and good in the world, and really believes in a traditional form of justice, that the people that deserve a second chance get a second chance. None of the modern day lawyer concepts of plea agreements just to not have to go to court and bother and all of that, but it's all about the person. And I like that idea, and I wanted to see what they were going to explore with it. Plus, the trailer gives you kind of an insight about what the actual conflict is going to be. He does something he probably shouldn't have done and deals with the consequences of doing those things. Going into this movie, I knew very little, just the basic concept of it being a piece about a man that kind of falls a little bit. I didn't know where they were going to go. I didn't know exactly how it happened. I will say, this movie is a bit slow. Now, if you're going into this movie as someone that's very fascinated with the character that Denzel Washington's playing, and you're very fascinated with what is occurring to him, and you're willing to kind of strap in and emotionally join him on this, as I did, it didn't really feel that the slowness hit me that much. There were a couple scenes towards the mid-range, so they could have cut down a bit, but it wasn't like I was checking my watch or board or anything like that, me personally.
Denzel Washington knocks it out of the park again in another huge role. This is going to be something that's going to be a big contributor to the award season that's going to be coming up in 2018. I wouldn't be shocked to see him nominated for all three of the major awards and potentially even be legitimate contender for those as well. His performance is absolutely outstanding. He makes you feel the emotions that that character is feeling, and I think that that's something that's really hard to come by. Those performances don't always, come across the way that they should, and he, like I said, he knocks it out of the park. It's a fantastic performance. That being said, the remainder of the movie that exists around him has some struggle with pacing issues here and there. You get a tiny little bit of tension and then it slows back down. A tiny little bit of tension and it slows back down. It's one of those movies where if you're not going in expecting to sit there and basically watch, a court drama outside of the courtroom, you're going to be looking at your watch trying to figure out why you spent, the $10 to $12 to go see this movie.
When it comes to the strength of this movie, it all lies in Denzel Washington. He is an amazing actor, as you should know. But this was unreal. I've seen him in a lot of amazing parts. I've seen him in a lot of parts where he's truly emotional, and you kind of see the character behind the humanity behind the character. But this was another level, in my opinion. There were a couple scenes in this where I was just blown away. The subtle nuance of the character, the fact that he doesn't do it in that kind of over-the-top way that's very cinematic and very entertaining, but he actually looks like a real person internally struggling sitting in front of you. There are a number of scenes, one in particular that sticks out, that he feels like a real person. It doesn't seem like it's Denzel Washington acting anymore. It feels like this is a living, breathing person that I can have a conversation with and I'm just seeing in action. I just happened to be at the office where he's having the interview. Absolutely fascinating to watch. The other part of it is the idea that you're watching a character kind of spiral a bit, and you can see that in the trailer, that you're seeing him deal with things he's never dealt before, you're seeing him deal with the consequences of actions and the concepts of who you are and what you believe in, and I believe that was good.
When it comes to the actual set pieces and everything, they did a really good job of basically showing the LA area as, the dirty, grimy place that it is. It makes the setting feel believable, and it's not something that takes away from the movie. It almost gives itself its own character. But there are things that are going on that would only work in that area, so it almost creates plot devices that they use to kind of lean on in certain scenarios. So some of the other performances from the other larger named actors weren't exactly on the same caliber, but they weren't terrible. You definitely notice anytime that Colin Farrell is on screen. He's a big presence, and he's been in a lot of really popular films, and he's put in a lot of really good performances. This one, it's not terrible, it's not great. It's definitely a vehicle for Denzel Washington's character. That allows his character to kind of take center stage and shine. Some of the other characters, I'm not certain as to how many of them were like legit big name, A-list stars. I don't think any of them really were. Their performances weren't terrible. Like I said, the acting in this movie is not bad, especially when it comes up to Denzel Washington. His performance was spectacular.
As strong as Denzel Washington is in this film, and I do believe he deserves award nods for this film, the ending ruins the entire film for me. Obviously, I will not give away the ending here. We do not give spoilers on the Entertainment Vortex unless you were on a spoiler review, which you are not. I feel that it's building up the entire movie, and you become so invested in his character, in Roman Israel's character, that you really want to see something come of it. The ending could have went one of a million ways, and I feel it went the worst possible way it could have went. If I had a list of all the possible endings, I would have put that at the bottom of the list of what I wanted to see. And therefore, for me, it had the least impact. It was the most disappointing, and it almost felt like a wasted ride, to be honest with you. If it wasn't for the love of filmmaking and the appreciation of the acting in the movie, I feel the ending ruins the entire ride. With that being said, this is a filmmaker's movie, in my opinion. If you are someone that loves the craft of filmmaking, or you are someone that loves the craft of acting, this is one definitely you want to watch. Just dissecting it and seeing how it's made, and seeing the amazing acting and the choices they made, and the fact that everything is so grounded in reality, I feel that's amazing. And it's a feat to behold.
But it's a story that's a little bit difficult to keep yourself wrapped in, and sometimes that makes things difficult to follow. They use a lot of actual jargon, and sometimes that can be a little off-putting, because there's no everyman in there to make that believable and understandable for everyone in the crowd. It's not that any of us got lost when we watched this movie, it's like I said, the pacing sometimes gives it a little bit of a barrier as far as actually getting invested in the movie.
Story-wise and entertainment-wise, it's just going to let you down. The ending just ruins the whole thing, and I feel almost betrayed by that ending, to be completely honest. So I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. All of the points it gets is purely the acting and the filmmaking. I do not believe that the story as a whole is worth going to see, and I definitely feel that feeling of disappointment I felt at the end, I could have done without. I didn't feel like I gained anything. We discussed after the movie during the credits rolling what the point of the movie was, like what was the moral, and it took us a while to really dig down and find what the moral of this movie was due to the bad ending.
Overall, I would give this movie a 5 out of 10. It's not something that I really want to go see again. I probably would have waited to see it when it came out on some form of streaming service. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Like I said, that performance of Denzel's definitely makes it worth at least giving a chance. If it's something that you're into, the subject matter is something that jumps out from a description for you, then definitely give it a shot. Like I said, just for that performance alone. But as far as the actual movie itself, it was a pretty big letdown for me.
So I'm curious to know, what is your favorite Denzel Washington movie? I mean, he's got a ton of them. His performances are on point, and they just get better and better as he goes through his career. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do now. This is now going to be the home of all of our movie reviews, our Funko Pop videos, plus our gaming videos, fan films. I mean, you're getting a minimum of 4 videos a week on this channel, so you don't want to miss out on that. So I hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.